Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be looking at messages from your person. There are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Smokey Quartz, along with these cards. Group 2 is the Goldstone, along with these cards. And group 3 is the Citrine, along with these cards. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Smokey Quartz, along with these cards, which I'll start with to get just kind of an introduction about where your person is at right now, what's going on with them energetically and in terms of the connection. We have Mature Man, Unexpected Income, and Privileged Lady. So it feels right now like your person may have gotten some kind of epiphany with this unexpected income. Something has really dawned on them. This may have been a piece of advice someone gave them, something they overheard or something that they read that has shifted their perspective in some way about how they are viewing you and the connection in general, as well as elements about themselves. It seems to have really flipped the script in a lot of ways in terms of some internal balancing of the masculine and feminine polarities that we all hold within ourselves, that your person seems to be viewing themselves almost in a sense where they are able now to kind of take responsibility for some of their actions, some of their tendencies, some things that may have just been very unconscious for them at one point in time that they are now seeing from a different angle, which is really opening up the opportunity for some exciting new growth potential in terms of recognizing their own kind of triggers, their own sort of shadows, their own kind of wounding, and being able to anticipate or identify these things, such as a tendency to run from you, maybe run from love and intimacy in general, as these things surface in the future. And it feels like a variety of areas within their life, not just within this connection. They're really starting to connect the dots in a major way. And it is something that is very substantial, a very substantial corner that has been turned in this situation. Definitely somebody who is on the road to kind of growth and maturation in terms of, again, some unconscious triggers, things that may have been kind of manifesting as a tendency to self-sabotage, to remain very aloof, very emotionally detached, kind of running in the opposite direction from love for a lot of them. And it's something which it, again, is helping to kind of, as they've gotten this new perspective on themselves, it's giving them a new perspective about you. And what they may have pushed away or run from in this circumstance is actually the medicine that they need. It is what they have been seeking. This is the idea of almost somebody who has prayed for, or has tried to manifest a very loving and caring connection, and when confronted with that, became very overwhelmed and almost pushed it away or ran in the opposite direction, ran from the blessing that they had been yearning for and longing for and really searching for. It feels like for most of their life, they'd really been seeking this. And because of that distortion, because of that wounding, they were unable to truly recognize the gift that this connection is and was, and kind of the energies that you were holding at face value. They were almost just operating out of that energy of shadow or distortion, feeling very triggered by what they had been seeking the most. So I'm going to get a little bit of tarot to get some further kind of clarification about this, about these energies. Okay, so we have the Eight of Pentacles, which is earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Three of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The Page of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Nine of Cups, so water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Chariot, which is Cancer, and the Moon, which is Pisces and Cancer. Although I'm going to call this Scorpio because in this card there is a scorpion down at the bottom. So the Moon is definitely talking about kind of those subconscious wounds, those shadows, maybe a tendency as well with kind of this Scorpio with their stinger raised to almost be very impulsive, very reactive, instead of talking about feelings, instead of talking about times when they have felt triggered or almost backed into a corner. There has been this tendency within them that they have now really become aware of. It has become illuminated for them that they have almost been standing in their own way in regards to, with the Nine of Cups, you know, this wish fulfillment and this happiness, how they have been almost you know, kind of, again, self-sabotaging, or it really feels like aspects of themselves that they weren't even necessarily aware of, or they may have kind of been on a surface level to some degree kind of aware of these tendencies, but something within them has really been fleshed out in a way to where the impact of that has been more profound upon that subconscious. They have seen their own kind of shadow in a more deeply embodied manner, or from a more substantial perspective, that has really opened up this ability for them to recognize with the Chariot a way forward, the potential and possibility for course correction, starting with the Eight of Pentacles to really do that work within themselves. You know, Three of Wands can be a card of distance. It's a card of travel and a card of recognizing that there is a long road ahead. There is a journey ahead, but with this energy of the Chariot, there is this motivation to at least start where they are with what they have. With the Page of Swords, again, is this card of illumination, of watching, of recognition that can confirm something that they've read, something that they've seen, something that they've heard, something that they may have even just picked up in a very kind of casual way through something, you know, that you have discussed, that you have posted. If they are watching your social media, you know, and you are kind of just, even it feels like very mundane things about your kind of life journey and where you're at this point in time. This feels to go kind of deeper than surface level, again, with the moon here and this energy of the subconscious, that there's something vibrationally within you. This can be the result of some work that you have done, some kind of recognition of self that you have done, some deep shadow work that you have been endeavoring, and some kind of a corner that you have turned, some kind of an up-leveling that has occurred, and it's been a very contagious vibration against, or to them, like against them, basically. It has really summoned from the depths, again, a more fleshed out version of some of these distortions and these shadows that they have been operating under. So something that they are even not able to necessarily put their finger on. It's just something about you which has shifted energetically that has really been able to kind of pierce or penetrate deep down into that kind of murkiness, that subconscious element within themselves, and really call to the surface. It's bringing to mind this idea of somebody who is going fishing, and it's a different kind of, your vibration is now a different kind of bait. It's a different kind of lure for some of these aspects within themselves, these faces within themselves, that are really being then jostled to the surface. It's surfacing for them, and they are able to see that in a different kind of way. They're able to really look themselves in the mirror in a new capacity. And it doesn't necessarily even feel to be something conscious on your part, or if this is independent of you, this can even talk about kind of this tandem shadow work. You may be going through the same kind of experience, really confronting yourself in a very stark and poignant way, something very unexpected that has just kind of surfaced from the depths. So the two of you really having this opportunity now to face some things, this Page of Swords, you know, that energy of kind of observation, to look deeply within, to look deeply into self, kind of the mechanism of self-correction, self-healing, rather than projecting blame out. This is an energy of kind of that internal focus, doing that work within, beginning that voyage, or another kind of layer or aspect of the voyage of that rigorous self-honesty and self-reflection, a process of really kind of being very assertive about that, as opposed to, again, kind of deflecting blame, being very passive in this capacity. So a very positive energy, a very you know, as kind of brutal of an awakening as this might have been, or kind of a stark reality, it does feel to be a very positive chapter that your person and you are really stepping into. This is something where a lot of value can be sort of cultivated out of this process of recognition. Now kind of armed with this knowledge, it enables each of you to kind of create that sort of greater balance within yourselves. It allows this person to create a greater balance within self through knowledge of self. It's stepping into that power more fully, being more aware of themselves in a multi-layered way, to be able to kind of pivot, create balance in other relationships in their life, and just kind of their relationship with their self, which then enables them to kind of show up and participate with you in a new fashion going forward, even just energetically, in terms of how they are thinking about this, viewing this, and holding this. If you are in a period of kind of separation or no contact, or if you're in contact with one another, it really feels to be kind of the precipice of opening up to a more fulfilling and enriching experience with one another. In a major way, they have kind of stopped running from an aspect of themselves that they were not even largely aware of, which is allowing them to show up in a greater degree to kind of aspects within you and within this dynamic that they also may have kind of been unconsciously triggered by or running from. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self now and see, what do they want to tell you? Okay, and they say, there is someone keeping me from you. So this really feels to talk about kind of those unconscious shadows and triggers, a recognition that they have been standing in their own way, that it has been fear which has been causing them to kind of run or sabotage or, kind of dismantle this connection energetically or even through their actions. It's almost this recognition of, the enemy is inside, the call is coming from within the house, so to speak, where they might have been really trying to project blame or, kind of externalize things, come up with excuses, things to do with their upbringing, with their current circumstances, maybe even telling you were putting too much pressure on them or just something, kind of energetically felt off. There is this recognition that barrier, those boundaries, that kind of enemy that they need to confront and to defeat and to reconcile with, it exists within themselves. It has been dwelling within their subconscious this whole time. We also have toxicity. So again, this can talk about distorted aspects, the distorted masculine and distorted feminine energies that they are holding inside. We all have masculine and feminine polarities within us. And a further layer or level to that, we both have balanced and distorted masculine and feminine polarities within us. We all do, regardless of what we resonate as. This is aside from gender. This is all speaking about energetically. And so it feels like this is, again, these elements from the subconscious, things that were deeply buried within them that have been triggered, that have kind of bubbled to the surface. It's bringing to mind this kind of image of a treasure chest that has been kind of buried in the depths, for eons, for centuries, for this person's whole life. Maybe even this can be kind of past life tendencies and trends that at a soul level they have really set out to endeavor to work through in this lifetime, kind of catalyzed by the circumstances between you and everything that has kind of led up to this moment in time. And it's this idea of kind of picking the lock on that, popping that lid open, and just being very startled and very amazed by what is seen within. That there's a lot that needs to be kind of sifted through with that. There's a lot that needs to be recognized. Kind of this element of looking in the mirror, this very much a wake-up call that has happened. It has brought to their attention, again, this toxicity that they hold within them, that the enemy is inside, that kind of at this time in their life, regardless of kind of how this affects sort of the outcome of this connection with you, that this is a pivotal point in their life in general. They are at a crossroads here to either sort of shut that lid and allow that kind of box of darkness in terms of unacknowledged tendencies, things they haven't dealt with, wounds that are just kind of left festering, to allow that to sink back down into that subconscious and continue to almost play puppet master to them, to surface in unexpected and almost devious ways, elements of self-sabotage or, again, kind of avoidance that may have really come up. There's an opportunity to deal with these things, clear these things, acknowledge these things, own these things, incorporate them into the full fabric of who this individual is, or again, to kind of allow those to sort of sink back down. So a pivotal turning point, but also kind of a heavy journey, a lot of work that is ahead for them at this point. They also say there is something I am hiding from you. So they may not be telling you about this massive kind of revelation that they have had, but it feels like something where you may almost energetically sense a difference, the way in which you are perceiving this person energetically. It may feel like a lightness, like opening a window, like a breath of fresh air that is kind of unplaceable. Where is this coming from? Why do you feel so different? And again, it feels like you've been doing a lot of work on yourself, so a lot of that you can, give the applause and credits to yourself, but it really feels to be an indication that you are picking up on something, that shift, that pivot, almost like a weightedness that this person had been carrying around within them, that in some way has been alleviated simply through the act of recognition. Something so simple and small, just a kind of a moment and a flash of awareness, and that it has had this profound effect upon them vibrationally, and therefore in how the two of you sort of perceive and interact with one another. And this can also, tie into kind of this awareness that they are coming into about sort of ways in which they have been working in opposition to this connection, either by avoiding, running, allowing these kind of unconscious patterns or triggers to kind of interfere or undermine the connection, or kind of slow down the progress of what wants to evolve. And it feels like something that they're still kind of in this stage of needing to decipher this, come to terms with this, find a language to discuss this. But there is this desire, and it feels almost a little bit hazy, kind of like off in the future a bit, not like something they're going to reach out and tell you about tomorrow. They could for some of you, but it feels like there's still some time that is needing to kind of come into their awareness, almost like a shock that they are needing to kind of absorb within themselves, to acclimate to, before they are able to even describe to you what has happened, what has shifted, what they have discovered, and kind of how this has opened up a new road and a new potential for themselves, and even how they are viewing you, the connection, and everything that has happened in the past. They also say, please don't move on. So there's a sense of urgency with this. Again, that Eight of Pentacles, hard work, with Three of Wands, that energy of distance, a journey that is ahead, movement that is needing to happen. And then in some way, this person has budged to a certain extent energetically. They've been dislodged from something, from this element of being ignorant, large in part to some aspects of themselves, that it feels like there may have been some kind of like avoidance up to this point, like a conscious denial of things, being sort of superficially aware, but not really digging deeply into these concepts or these tendencies, just kind of accepting it as part of the way that they are, but not really, again, diving too deep into that. Something has shifted within them where they've been confronted with this in a new way. They can no longer run. They can no longer avoid. They can make the choice to continue to run and avoid, but it won't, that kind of like, they can't bury it fully. It's almost like the eyes have been opened and they can never fully close them again to this reality that they have now seen and witnessed about and within themselves. But it is going to take time. This is a whole new kind of world. This is a new language that they are learning. This is almost like learning about new kind of components of themselves that they hadn't really accepted, sort of lived within them, or hadn't even known were kind of part of their makeup and their mechanisms and kind of how that materialized in other circumstances. So this is somebody who's starting to do that work, starting to really look within them. And there is hope that on the other side of this, that the situation can be course corrected in some way. They can show up to you in a different energy, and there's hope that it won't be almost too little too late. So there's a little bit of fear that is kind of actually a very positive thing in this circumstance. It's almost creating this sense of urgency to really get down to business, to start to unpack this, to lean more fully into this. Now that aha moment has happened, that epiphany, and they can't go back to sleep. They're not able to really successfully stuff this all the way down. Then there's a sense of, I have to get this remedied. I have to clean this up before it's too late. Okay, and they say, I am afraid to contact you. So that ties in with that idea of there's something that they are hiding. This revelation, this epiphany, this awareness that they have come to, it's something that is also bringing up a lot of kind of shame and regret within them. There's a fear of, kind of armed with this new awareness. How do they approach you? A sense of having taken you for granted, or again, recognizing ways in which they had projected upon you a shadow or distortion which existed within them. And there is this element of fear and a little bit of resistance of kind of moving forward from that place, still kind of needing to figure this out more, come to the words, come to the understanding of how to really describe this, not wanting to come forth empty-handed with simply a revelation, but a desire to kind of do some work, to be able to bring something forth to you of meaning and value that supports this energy of that they have discovered about themselves, and they have made the effort to change, bringing forth evidence of that changed behavior, as opposed to just an awareness that change is necessary or possible. And they also say, I want you. So they desire more out of this connection. They want to experience a greater depth with you than was possible up to this point or previously. There's something that, again, the kind of the energy between the two of you, something you hold inside is medicine for this person that they may have been pushing away. This element of love being that remedy, and this awareness that they have come to, that they may have had a tendency in general or in terms of this situation to push love away, to run from love. And there is this acknowledgement now that you embody and you hold everything that they have been looking for, everything that they need and that they want to become capable of savoring and enjoying and reciprocating in kind. So it again is this motivation to really stick with this, to do this work, to really dive deeper into what has surfaced for them, to do what is necessary in order to kind of raise their vibration or clear away some of this clutter and this almost ignorance or unawareness, so that they are able to come to you as more of a clear channel, a balanced energy who is very much aware of kind of all the polarities of light and shadow that they hold within. And they also say, I wish I had treated you better. So again, this acknowledgement that is coming to them, this stark realization of how they have pushed you away, how they have rejected the cup of love that you have offered. They have taken you for granted. And it's something that, again, this feels like somebody who is recognizing that the best apology is changed action. So all of this element of kind of fear and regret, it is this motivational force that is encouraging them to really buckle down and start to do this work, start to peel back these layers and unpack this further, to not just sit in place with this realization, which may be something that they are doing right now, kind of uncertain about where to go from here, where to start. But there is almost, it feels like a new horizon that has opened up. There's a wider vista of what is possible. The blinders have been taken off a bit, in a very substantial way, though, for this person, to where how they have been navigating, how they have been operating within themselves and within the world and, within dynamics and relationships, and this relationship specifically, it has become clearer to them, or they are seeing it from a different perspective. And so it is opening up kind of these channels for new possibilities to aim towards, and kind of a new element of self-awareness to work with. They also say, I knew exactly what I was doing. So again, on some level, this might not be a complete new revelation for this person. There may have just been kind of this superficial awareness within them that, they had an issue with commitment. They were fearful of commitment. They were, kind of hesitant or avoidant, but so this isn't just somebody who is completely operating in the dark and just, I didn't know what I was doing. No, on some level, this is a tendency. This is a trend. This is a pattern. They have experienced this in other relationships before, this same kind of building of connection, only to sort of thwart that, to push it away or to run from it. But something that has changed within them, it is again almost fleshed that out to a greater degree, that they are now able to see on a more deep level, kind of the ramifications of this, kind of this larger sort of a repeating cycle within them of calling in love, calling for that intimacy and that connection, only to be gifted that, to be delivered that, to encounter that in a variety of different ways and different, circumstances and connections and experiences in their life, only to get, very close to that wish fulfillment, very close to, what they need at the soul level. And then the intensity of that, kind of what that is shaking loose within them, these kind of blocks and barricades within self that inhibit them from experiencing and participating with that more fully, only to kind of push that away again, to reject that, to extinguish that. It feels that with this connection with you, it is not so easily extinguished, and that may be why such a profound kind of revelation has been possible for them. Something about the dynamic and the energy between the two of you, regardless of if you're in a no contact situation or if things have gotten kind of awkward or tense between you, if they're still in your life. There's something about the energies that the two of you exchange, the work you're doing on themselves, and how that really kind of ripples out or boomerangs to this person, that it has made a profound impact. From the higher self level, the two of you are very much, kind of bonded with each other. You are very much entwined. And so regardless of what is happening on the 3D plane, there is this kind of influence back and forth where you are both kind of, triggering and healing each other, kind of in tandem. And so it is something that it has really allowed this person to dive deeper, to get more awareness, gain more clarity than they have had the opportunity to do before, based again on kind of your energetic interactions, work you're doing on yourself that is having a measurable impact upon them, or even just things that they, through these circumstances have been kind of motivated toward, a way in which their path or their personal journey has somehow pivoted or shifted based on the circumstances between you. Maybe they have looked into soul connections. Maybe it's just, certain things that based on the nature of what has happened between you, they've avoided, which has kind of redirected them on another path. Things that have kind of been divinely orchestrated for them, these synchronicities, these epiphanies, things that various algorithms are kind of recommending for them. YouTube videos, this can be posts, this can be memes, this can be even just sort of conversations that they are hearing, things that, strangers are saying as they are just kind of walking by, and it's just something that clicks within this person that really just unlocks a door to kind of these energies that have been percolating and existing between the two of you, almost this element of an unfinished business between the two of you. And a very profound kind of element of this self-realization, that now they are able to know themselves on a deeper level and kind of feel into those ramifications and the magnitude of what this kind of element of self, this tendency within self that they on some level were aware of, what kind of the larger gravity of that is, the ways in which they've kind of held themselves back, held themselves down, or kept what they are desiring the most at a distance from them. And they also say, I've been thinking about proposing to you. So this can really talk about, again, words that are wanting to be spoken, this desire for reconciliation, this desire for closeness. Somebody who's in this process of wanting to ready themselves for a potential reunion with you, a reconciliation, wanting to come in closer. In a lot of ways, they are feeling very grateful for this connection, for the profound energetic impact, ways in which you have illuminated them. Even if they're not sure why, they feel a debt of gratitude towards you. Again, this could stem from something energetically that you have been doing, or just the energy that you hold within you and how that really combines with them. Regardless of the work you have or have not been doing, there's something about the significance of this connection. It falls into that category of once the eyes have been opened, they can never fully be shut again. The two of you have encountered one another in the flesh to some degree, even if this is a connection at a distance. You have had some kind of interactions with one another, presumably in a material sense, whether that be conversations, things you've typed back and forth, or if this was like a literal connection where you have been in physical proximity to one another. You've touched upon each other energetically. There's been something that has been awakened that cannot go back to sleep. It is a paradigm shift. And so someone who's been in this kind of role of resistance or running is now starting to, understand that what they have been running from is that sanctuary that they have been seeking. It is leading them home to a greater understanding of self as well. And so again, there's a sense of almost feeling very grateful for you, wanting to kind of move closer towards you, share these epiphanies, share these realizations, share with you in this journey of kind of unfoldment and ascension and growth. They also say, I'm protecting this connection. So they may be deliberately staying at a distance, even armed with this kind of awareness, because they recognize there's a lot of work that needs to be done. What has been jostled open within them, it is just the beginning. So there is this desire to reach out to, kind of bring you into this process, but a recognition as well that a lot of this work needs to be done within themselves, that you can't do the work for them. There's this desire to almost kind of an element of shame to hide some of this darkness from you as well. which is another element of that toxicity that they are needing to work through, that they are being confronted with, parts of themselves that they are ashamed of, that they have kind of kept deep down inside, that they have tried not to show you, tried not to show others, that have nonetheless kind of reared their ugly head and manifested in other ways. So kind of keeping that darkness at bay. They also say, I do think about the future, and when I do, I think about you in it. So this again ties into this idea of kind of an unfinished symphony between the two of you, unfinished business, not wanting this plateau wherever you are at in your situation with one another to be kind of the end of the story. There's a desire for more, a desire of growth within themselves, and to grow toward that best version, into that best version, into kind of holding that greater awareness of all aspects, all facets of themselves, in order to present you with something that is more balanced, that is more equitable. By being more self-aware, they are able to, present you with a greater kind of awareness and version of their capacity to love, their needs and their desires, their limitations, all of that. There is a desire to, bring you in closer, to bring you in at a more intimate level, to know who they are. But that first and foremost starts with them coming to this greater awareness internally and individually with who they are themselves. They also say, I'm being subliminal with how I feel about you. So they may be sending you loving thoughts, kind of telepathically reaching out. There may be suggestions or innuendos, things that they are not speaking. They're kind of operating in this liminal space between sort of the light and the shadow, trying not to let too much be known, but at the same time letting just enough kind of pierce through that uncertainty or that veil to give you kind of this inclination that a shift has happened, a change has happened. But again, there's this energy of wanting to protect the connection, not feeling necessarily comfortable with what they have discovered about themselves, not wanting to overwhelm you, burden you, or kind of further complicate matters in this situation. So there may be almost like a little trinket or a token of love, something that they say, maybe something that they post if you are in communication with one another to some degree. This, can just be like a song that they sing you, something that they say in passing. That's very small, but it's almost this reassurance of the love that they have for you, of this point that they are working toward. It's almost like a little check-in to let you know things have changed. I see you with greater clarity. I see the potential here. I see this connection with greater clarity. And I'm working to step into that place of being able to kind of bring that out into the open more, to bring this version of myself, a more well-balanced, well-rounded, and self-aware version out into the open, to present you with kind of the most equitable version of myself. And so little suggestions, hints, and innuendos at this time, again, of like a shift that has happened, a change that has happened, a change of heart, and kind of this journey that they are now embarking on to explore sort of that treasure chest that has been unearthed from their own darkness, learning to find power in that distortion, even through recognizing it, kind of taking the power away from that. The energy of kind of not being aware of it, or really stuffing that down by kind of acknowledging these things, owning these aspects of self. They are able to kind of harness that rather than being almost pivoted against their will or very unconsciously by these aspects that kind of lay within them. So I'm going to get some guidance now about the situation. Okay, we have beauty. The outer world is a reflection of your inner. So focus on the beauty within yourself, your good qualities, your kindnesses, your gifts and talents. Remember that whatever you give attention to increases and grows. Everyone has some beauty in their soul, so seek it in others. Remind them of their qualities and you will illuminate them. Surround yourself with things and people with a beautiful vibration, for we are all influenced by that which is around us. As you tune more and more into the incredible wonder of yourself, others, and the planet, your resonance becomes that of beauty. Others will perceive the radiance of your soul and be touched by it. And the affirmation is, I recognize my beauty and that of others. So this is really bringing to mind with all that, the reference to beauty, this idea of beauty and the beast, this balance, the balancing of the light and shadow within self, illuminating the darkness, illuminating, the areas of ourself that we deny, that we avoid, that we stuff down or are just unaware of. And so this is encouragement for you to continue doing that work on yourself, continue to set that energetic example or that literal example in how you kind of are moving through this process, this ebb and flow of rigorous self-honesty, really looking in the mirror, doing the work on yourself first and foremost, and having faith that that will change the vibration you emit. In a large way, what you have already done for yourself and, within yourself, it has in some way affected this person. It has really helped to shift something within them, perhaps even very unconsciously or consciously. What they're seeing, they're very much inspired by you. We had that Page of Swords, so they may definitely be watching you, observing you, taking note of the changes and evolution within you. And so, kind of balancing out these times where you're being very confrontational with self, with places of compassion, kindness for self, not just looking at kind of all the flaws, but also taking time to really applaud the virtues that we all hold within, the qualities that you're very proud of, elements of yourself that you would consider your strengths, recognizing as well the strength in vulnerability. Again, you can help to continue to set an example for this individual, and understand also that they are in this process of kind of balance, doing work that may be very outside of their comfort zone. They've not done this for a while. They didn't even know it was necessary or possible. And so continuing to keep your vibration very high, creating balance within yourself, allowing yourself to kind of feel and process your heaviness, your shadows as they are triggered and occur, but not feeling that you need to necessarily live there. Understanding that, a lot of this journey, this person must take on their own at this point. We can all only do the work for ourselves. You can be that inspiration, you can be that leader, but there is also, a time to really just allow the process to unfold naturally, kind of tend to your own garden. And in doing that, you kind of become that beacon, you become that energetic point that is raised up, that helps this person consciously or unconsciously kind of strive for a like vibration within themselves, so that, in the future, further down the road, the two of you have greater potential to manifest something that is more balanced, that is more kind of wholesome and fulfilling and healthy for the two of you, in terms of whatever may develop out of these current circumstances in the future in this connection. So I'm going to get some initials. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got O, V, D, H, U, I, C, and Z. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Goldstone, along with these cards, which I'll start with to get an introduction of kind of what's going on with your person right now, energetically and within the connection. We have Thief, Gift, and Coffin. So it looks like your person is sitting in a lot of regret, focusing on some endings, some tower moments that may have happened in their life, even in terms of this connection, focusing on missed opportunities as well, and filled with a sense of almost, it feels like a lot of self-blame at this point in time, feeling very frustrated at how their actions up to this point, a rejection almost of the cup of love that you had to offer, the gift that this connection really presented to them. And there's a bit of frustration on their part at having not seized that opportunity, letting that opportunity slip through their fingers, not acting upon this, not acting sooner, not doing more to almost preserve the integrity of the connection. It feels that at a certain point, you may have had some expectations that they would have fought harder, fought for this, fought their way through whatever resistance, whatever kind of like sneakiness or distortion really had interfered with the connection in the past, and almost time had gone by and things just really withered. This person never showed up. They didn't do the work. They kept resisting. They kept avoiding. They kept moving in the other direction, operating in an energy of self-deception as well, and even deceptive energies towards you. And there's a sense of really that things have come to some kind of final conclusion, that it's almost too late or too much has happened to go back now. This is a very pivotal energy, though, out of kind of this element of sort of endings, this energy of completion, that element of death with the coffin. There is potential for a reimagined version of themselves and this connection to surface. However, currently it feels that as they are viewing the situation, viewing themselves, and again, maybe this stage of their life in general, they're very much focused, it feels, on what has been lost, what has been squandered, missed opportunities. This feels very much like an energy of a lack mentality, not really able to see kind of the blessings and the gift in all of these difficulties that they are currently facing, that they have faced in the past, or that their own actions have created. So kind of a heaviness, a pessimism. This is a little bit of a woe is me energy that they are sitting in right now, which is a necessary stage, as difficult and as frustrating as that can be, sitting on the other side, kind of with that bird's eye view, not just with this person, but with people in general in our lives. And we can see solutions, we can see kind of the way forward, but until someone is ready to see that for themselves, it can be so frustrating to kind of be the bystander in this circumstance. But as it is right now, it feels that this person very much has tunnel vision. They very much have blinders on. They are focused just again on kind of the loss and the negativity, as opposed to sort of what this kind of fallow period, what all of this raw material of experience, everything that they've done wrong, everything that was kind of they feel was done wrong to them, kind of that opportunity to create something out of that. They're kind of trapped in this state of giving their power away to these things. Again, frustration within themselves. This can talk also with Thief about some toxicity within them, toxic mindsets, toxic behaviors, toxic connections that they are involved in, and just allowing themselves to continue to be drained and depleted by these things, drained and depleted by a lack mentality and mindset, instead of seeing the potential for new beginnings. This coffin is bringing forth this idea of almost Five of Pentacles, being out in the cold, unable to recognize kind of the sanctuary, the clarity that is right there, it is right adjacent to them, this gift that is, being offered to them, the gift of, having all of this deep knowledge and experience of what has not been working in their life up to this point, which is almost the rock bottom out of which triumph can be created. It is that pivot point at which they can rise. They can make that commitment to do better and follow that through with concise action. But as it is right now, all they can do is kind of look around them and see this energy of endings. They can only see the kind of the rubble of what is around them, sort of the consequences of their choices, and what has been squandered and what has been lost. So a bit of a dark night of the soul, some heaviness. This person energetically may feel very desolate, very remote, very they have been closed into themselves. They've kind of just gone into this shell, into this cocoon with the coffin, which again is kind of that darkness. It is a step, it is a stage in that cycle of metamorphosis. So I'm going to get some tarot to get some more clarity about this. Okay, so we have the Hermit, which is Virgo. Five of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Page of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Six of Cups, so more water energy. The Star, which is Aquarius. And the Queen of Pentacles, which is earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. So with this Five of Swords, this loss and this defeat ties in with the Queen of Pentacles, this energy of bounty and prosperity in the material sense. This person may have had a lot that has crumbled in terms of things to do with work or finance, things to do with kind of their living situation, even choices that they have made, choosing options for themselves in a variety of ways that were more kind of toxic or one-sided, kind of a limit on the potential of what was possible, a rejection of kind of balanced energies or opportunities that were offered or presented to them, an energy of kind of self-sabotaging these things, not coming forth in an energy of integrity and then almost squandering the potential of what existed, that it is really hitting home kind of this energy of loss, and sort of focus at this point on the roads that have been forged by the choices they have made in their life up to this point in time. Six of Cups, this energy of nostalgia, thinking back on the past, thinking back about kind of the woulda, coulda, shoulda, all the happy memories, all the times when things went wrong, kind of things got complicated, or they themselves really messed things up in this connection, and it feels in a broader sense in their life in general. The Hermit can really talk about this withdrawal, either that they have literally kind of withdrawn into themselves, into that coffin, into that cocoon, that hermit mode, or because of what has been dismantled, or the choices they have made as far as what to invest in, relationships to really build or participate in, and how these things may have been very one-sided, or when the chips were down, these people just sort of vanished, left this person high and dry, maybe took advantage of them, were dishonest, were deceptive with them, not clear in their motives, or were just very kind of surface level in their emotions. But then again, when kind of these tower moments were occurring, this person may have found themselves without a lot of support, with a lack of material support, a lack of emotional support, and it has made them feel very isolated. So where they've almost gone into hiding, they're having to kind of lick their wounds very privately at this point in time. Page of Cups can talk again about, in conjunction with that Six of Cups, this knowledge that they have of where they have rejected and abandoned kind of love or very positive vibrations or opportunities in a variety of ways that were presented to them, and also this awareness of how they have abandoned themselves in the process. choices they may have made, to kind of acquiesce to the expectations of others, kind of a tendency toward codependency or people pleasing, investing in sort of the wrong things, investing in the antithesis of love and fear and in control, versus allowance and kind of, a more healthy situation, kind of the expense that has had, what that has cost them emotionally, maybe, even kind of physically, what that has cost them in terms of resources, in terms of, kind of moving toward those goals in a larger way of what they have wanted in their life. This is not a very positive energy. This is an energy of defeat right now and kind of not being certain. Everywhere they look around them, there is only this darkness. There's only focus upon what has not worked, what has again, kind of these gifts that were presented. And it's the idea of looking a gift horse in the mouth, seeing things, seeing you, seeing this connection and other opportunities in their life as kind of long gone, as just the thing of memories at this point in time, yearning for that, wanting that, wishing that they could go back in time and kind of make different decisions, but not really recognizing and seeing that that energy of regret is that raw material that can definitely be sort of forged into a reimagining of what is possible for themselves in a variety of ways in the future. The star speaks about hope, but in this sense, it is with these other cards, it's really tying into somebody who's kind of in a hopeless energy right now. Their hope has dwindled, or it may be just very dim at this point in time. It's the idea of kind of like a distant star up in the sky or on the horizon. And again, somebody who's kind of withdrawn into themselves or been forced into this kind of hermit mode. They've chosen to invest in connections that were built on faulty foundations. They've chosen sort of paths that really only serve the needs of the ego. And now that this existential crisis has occurred, times where there's a lot of pressure or a lot that is really kind of in a point of turmoil, a lot of loss that they have had, maybe even literal death that has occurred around them that has kind of brought them into the state of mourning, in a state of really reevaluation of the choices they have made, kind of how have they been using the gift of life that they have been given up to this point? How have they been leading their life? In what energy? With what volume of integrity have they been making choice? Have they been treating others? What kind of people have they been allowing into their world? Have they been participating with? What is that landscape that they've created around them? And it's something where it's a deeply introspective energy that is kind of, it's in that realm right now of they're not seeing a lot of hope for themselves in the future. They're not seeing a lot of hope as far as reconciliation goes with this connection, because as they are looking around at themselves and in the world that they've created, they're focused on a lot of loss, a lot of missed opportunities. And this may even be something where with the Queen of Pentacles, they have a lot of material success, but there's just something lacking at the soul level. There's a lack of almost this intangible wealth of quality connections, of feeling proud of themselves and the choices that they have made. This may be somebody who has had to kind of step over a lot of people in order to reach kind of their goals, to reach that top of the mountain, and it doesn't feel good. What they have done, the things that they are ashamed of, the things that they regret, the gifts of opportunities and relationships, even in this connection, that they had not invested in or had been very deceptive with, had kind of used this to their advantage to pivot in some way, maybe using that, using the attention you gave them as just something to kind of fill that ego, fill their self-esteem, but not operating with integrity. This has all really been brought to a crashing halt in some way, an awareness, kind of a widening perspective of, again, choices that they have made that have kind of led to these current circumstances, a feeling of isolation, a feeling of desolation, a feeling of loss, even if they are in a crowded room surrounded by other people. This is someone who feels very alone at this point in time. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self and see what do they want to tell you. Okay, and we have water under the bridge. So this is that Six of Cups energy, that idea of nostalgia, looking back on the past. An energy kind of here of crying over spilled milk, wishing they could go back in time and make different choices in their life and as far as this connection is concerned. Feeling that whatever has happened in the past, or whatever deception has taken place, duplicity, or kind of an unwillingness to participate in a healthy manner in this connection, that it's too much water under the bridge. There's no way to kind of return from this. There's no way to kind of redeem themselves from this. Feeling very hopeless and almost kind of carried to a point in their life that they are acknowledging they have created for themselves. They have participated in it. It may have been something they'd been working toward that they felt that they wanted. Now that they have reached this place, it feels very lonely. This idea of it's very lonely at the top. Something is missing. This idea as well of kind of a rushing river. They're just watching their life pass them by, that they've really squandered a lot of these beautiful opportunities that they have been faced with at many points in their life, and also the beautiful opportunity that presented itself in the form of the gift of this connection and the potential that the two of you had and what you shared in the past. They also say, you make me nervous. So you trigger a deep sense of regret within this person because they see you in a lot of ways as wish fulfillment, as perhaps, the most kind of healthy choice for them, which brings into question kind of other choices that they've been making. Like if this energy, of this vibration between the two of you, if what you represent, the way you live your life, who you are, if this is good for them. It's a nervousness when they look around and see almost the toxicity, kind of the deception, the shadowy energy, the dense energy, the very low vibrations that they've been participating with, that they themselves have been operating in. There's a nervousness to fully change as well, to kind of let go of things that are wanting to sort of cycle out of their life. This is almost the idea of kind of holding on to the broken shards and not really recognizing that there is wholeness for them elsewhere. And this kind of drive and this motivation to kind of lean into kind of the cocoon and the metamorphosis stage, but a fear of the unknown. What is beyond that? This is somebody who almost may have become so accustomed to this sense of brokenness within them, participating with broken people. Somebody who sabotages, self-sabotages, surrounds themselves with energies of chaos and kind of decay, that this idea of life, breathing life into something, a connection that could actually be balanced and equitable and forthright, all of this is so foreign to them that it makes them nervous. It's something that is healthy. It's something that their soul yearns for, yet it is so much outside of the comfort zone of what they've known up to this point that they almost feel this need to kind of push it away or retreat or sort of shrink away from that idea, also in tandem with a feeling of a lack of worthiness within themselves, based on their choices and actions in the past and how they've treated you previously in this connection. There's a sense of not feeling good enough, not deserving of that, of a second chance, or of kind of the gift of love that you have to offer. They also say, I have unwittingly sabotaged our connection. So they are admitting that to themselves, but feeling very defeated by that. Again, focusing mostly on the lack, a lot of self-blame, a lot of self-punishment. They may feel that it is their karma to just sort of sit in the wreckage of their life in a lot of ways, to feel very alone with the company that they are keeping. And it feels to operate again from this deep kind of sense of lack within themselves, some self-esteem issues that are needing to be kind of worked on. And so this cocoon phase that they find themselves in, kind of sitting with their own darkness, sitting in the bed that they have made for themselves. It is a very necessary stage to whatever growth is possible in the future within themselves and in this connection. And they also say, you inspire me in so many ways. So they again view you as an alternative to other types of people that they've been with. You are a mirror for the best of what is possible within them. You motivate this person to change, but there's also a fear of that unknown, a fear of kind of changing that narrative of how they've been showing up in their life and relationships, how they are viewing themselves, perceptions that have been kind of templated upon them, or, kind of these distorted views and beliefs of who they are in the world, and kind of their role in relationships, this toxicity they've almost taken on themselves as a mantle or a cloak. You urge them to really release that, to let forth a more balanced version, a more loving version of themselves, which they really want to reach toward that. But as they look around, they don't really feel worthy or prepared for that. There's so much that needs to be kind of cleaned up or moved away from or kind of dismantled in their life in order to kind of raise themselves up to that possibility in a material sense. And they also say so many things remind me of you. So that is that Six of Cups, that nostalgia, a lot of memories, things that are haunting them. They may be dreaming about you a lot, reviewing kind of in their mind the interactions between the two of you, what was said, what was done, maybe looking back on old pictures as well, kind of rereading text messages or emails or social media conversations, a lot of signs and synchronicities that they are getting. It feels that you are almost a companion for them at this period of personal darkness. They may feel very alone, but they are very comforted by the light of your energy, by the memories that the two of you have shared, very much in contrast to what has been experienced even just vibrationally with other people that they have known in their life. And they say, I am afraid to contact you. So this can definitely tie into, again, this feeling of lack, this feeling of inadequacy, looking around and not being content with what they have created for themselves, focusing only on kind of what is not working in their life. Almost an important, a crucial first step toward evolution and metamorphosis is coming to that term of kind of self-acceptance, sitting with ourselves, sitting with the parts of ourselves that we don't like, becoming very acquainted with that vibrationally so that we are able to kind of pivot and reach for something different, reach for something more, cultivate something more within ourselves. So a lot of fear, a fear of rejection, a fear that it's too little too late, it's too much water under the bridge, there's no coming back from this. And so somebody who's almost, again, kind of just withdrawn into themselves, into kind of vibrating at that level of fear, sitting with that fear, confronting a lot of these shadows within themselves, which is a necessary kind of place of rock bottom from which something new has the possibility of being built within themselves and then kind of rippling out into what's possible between the two of you. They also say you and I were too young. So this may have been someone where there have been years that have passed, maybe even decades that have passed. They're starting to recognize how impulsive they may have been, how they were just focused on kind of superficial things, surface level things. They don't feel that they were, in a lot of ways still do not feel that they are prepared for kind of the mature and healthy and balanced love that you had to offer. A sense also of regret at the missed opportunities, wishing they could turn back time and do things differently. The Hermit talks about this period of maturation and growth. So again, they're moving out of kind of this caterpillar stage, this young energy, this very kind of naive energy or just very impulsive energy, surface level energy. And there's an element of depth and substance that is being created within this person. And it is through that primordial soup of kind of regret and malaise and morose and kind of looking around and feeling very desolate, very alone and dissatisfied, that something very beautiful has the potential of kind of growing beyond that. They also say, I replay our conversations over and over. So again, that Six of Cups, that nostalgia, that reviewing the memories in their mind, or maybe things that you had written to them, emails, text messages, looking back over that, seeing things, seeing you from a different angle as well, even as they are just kind of mentally going over these memories, things that they may have overlooked or taken for granted in the past, are taking on a new weight. They are recognizing your value, and consequently then the value of what was squandered in this situation, which is kind of compounding. It is creating that shell of the cocoon. It is helping to dissolve them into kind of that unformed state out of which something different then has the possibility to kind of germinate again within themselves, and then how they are able to show up with you in the connection in the future. They also say, I've thought about surprising you with a date. So if you are in no contact, this person is definitely yearning for your company, yearning for your presence, wanting to move closer towards you, wanting to reach out. But again, it's in this mental energy. You know, they've thought about it, and it feels that fear really stops them. Fear stops them from reaching out, this uncertainty, this lack within themselves. Also kind of, it feels like from the higher self level, and just sort of spiritually, there's a very profound process of metamorphosis that wants to take place for them. To where the time is not right. There are changes that need to happen within them. They are still operating largely in lack. That is the focus. That is where the attention is going. And until they kind of look at that lack as raw material, out of which the opportunity for something better, something more, change, difference, improvement, that can be cultivated, until they shift out into that different perspective, that creating that abundance mindset within them, which then helps them to kind of magnetize in and generate abundance for themselves in a variety of ways, that it feels like they will continue to kind of hold themselves back, or needing to kind of remain at a distance or kind of barricaded from you within sort of those walls of fear. They also say it feels like something is missing without you around. So again, they are really recognizing the contrast of your presence, your influence, kind of what the two of you had experienced in the past compared to what they have going on now, or other choices that they have kind of made in this circumstance with you. And it's something where there's a longing for that. There's a longing to kind of move beyond, or almost fast track out of this energy of malaise, and yet they feel very stuck there. They look around and all they can see is what is kind of broken, what is not working. And the light that you have, the potential, the love that existed between the two of you at one point, and still is keeping them company in this cocoon stage in the dark. It is very inspirational to them to just, hold fast in this energy. For a lot of them, they may not have a choice. If a lot has crumbled in their world and they find themselves very isolated, literally in a lot of ways, and there is no choice but to sort of sit with that. Energetically, they still feel very connected to you, and, are just kind of missing that, are reaching for that. You may feel them at times kind of tugging on your energy, and then other times where they, just feel very remote, almost like they've dropped out off the radar completely. And they also say, I've been doing spell work on you. So this person may be actively trying to manifest you back into their life. It feels almost the amount of kind of nostalgia and the thoughts that they are applying towards you. It is almost... it's kind of tying them to you in a way to where you may feel interfered with at some level energetically. You're picking up and you're perceiving a lot of this kind of strange dissonance from them, as they are trying to almost kind of tugging on you, or wanting to kind of pull you back in. It feels very avoidant in a lot of ways. It is more of that kind of tendency of duplicity within them, almost a resistance and an unwillingness to kind of sit in that discomfort, wanting you to kind of be that solution, looking to, even just in a very nebulous sense, the energy that you represent, or that it was exchanged between the two of you, wanting that to kind of rescue them, to kind of pull them out of this darkness, but that there is no way out except for further within. There is no way to kind of transcend this other than to surrender. Like with spell work, it must just play out. It must just run its course. And this is something this person is starting to really recognize, that kind of their coping mechanisms of the past, their tendencies of the past, it keeps bringing them around to the same results. This is somebody who's been caught in cycles, caught in kind of these traps within themselves. And they are now they have circled around and are now at that pivot point where change is possible. But it's something that will require kind of hard work on their part in order to be able to kind of look around and see kind of the chaos and the turmoil, and make something of that, make use of that, even in the form of really looking at this and sitting in this and coming forth as a wiser version of self. They also say, I've been expanding my spiritual knowledge. So in this kind of period of darkness, they may have come upon these ideas of dark night of the soul. They may find themselves with a lot of time on their hands, and kind of as they are sort of replaying the connection, they are recognizing this contrast, an attachment that they still feel towards you. It's something where they may be doing some research, looking into soulmate connections. They may consider you their twin flame, for example, and just kind of looking outside of the box for solutions or just again, kind of explanations from what they are experiencing. They may be operating in a bit of kind of paranoia energy right now. That idea of spell work, they may almost be thinking you put a love spell on them. They can't get you out of their mind. And it's something where they're really digging into that. Again, it feels like somebody who's operating heavily in this energy of distortion, trying to kind of block or cut things off, or again, they may feel very interfered with, which has caused them to kind of pull away and sort of withdraw into themselves. But through this process of expanding the spiritual knowledge, it feels that they will really be coming more face to face with kind of the true culprit in this situation, which is themselves, the way that they have been getting in their own way, blocking themselves, binding themselves, kind of enchanting themselves into participating with illusions. And then kind of when confronted with genuine and pure love, the vibration of that it feels very foreign, it feels very much like an otherness, something that is not really trustworthy, something that is, something to be skeptical about. It is this part that resonates with them at the soul level that is urging them beyond their own personal darkness, but still operating out of that energy of distortion. They may see it currently as a very manipulative force. And so again, this process of kind of a cocoon that this person is in, a deep kind of dissolution on a lot of levels in order to be almost alchemized into the next version of self that is possible. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit for you. Okay, we've got hope. Hope indicates that the sun is about to come out in an area of your life. The angel wisdom reminds you that your spirit is immensely resilient and powerful, so keep faith with your dreams and visions. Remember, the universe wants you to have your heart's desire. It is simply waiting for you to believe you deserve it before the angels bring it to you. Do your part by deciding what you truly want. Then send out positive thoughts for the changes you seek and for the fulfillment of your wishes. Ask the angels for help, and they will fan the sparks of potential and bring them into your life. Hope is a magnetic quality which attracts the great and beautiful into your life. And the affirmation is, I am eternally optimistic. So this is some beautiful guidance here that this person is in a period of transition and kind of inner turmoil, inner chaos at this point in time, but this will not be the situation forever. If this is somebody that you want to reconcile with, if you still feel very connected to this person, you still are kind of like holding on hope for the future of what can develop. This is encouraging you to release any kind of attachment to a timeline or what that might look like. Understanding this deep process of metamorphosis that this person is in, kind of cycling through those distortions, that paranoia, that avoidance, that projection. It is all necessary to bring them back home to self. There's a lot that needs to dissolve within them energetically, and ego death, which is wanting to take place. Hope is also that star card, which we saw here with tarot. So a double confirmation of that this kind of dark period that they are in, this darkness, this phase that your connection is in right now, maybe a lot of endings, kind of some things that have closed out or wrapped up in terms of how you are viewing this person, feeling them energetically, or even your hopes for the future, that there is the opportunity to really turn the page in some way. Maybe this is a turning point for you where there is a resolution and you move forward in your life without kind of holding on to that hope or expectation of this person returning, of change happening. This can also talk about, that star of hope where, beyond this period of kind of personal transformation and self-liberation that this individual needs to endeavor in this cocoon phase, in that hermit mode, in that kind of withdrawn energy, that something new can be birthed. The dawning of a new day is possible, but it will take time, it will take patience. And so in the interim, you are guided to really lean into your own process of dissolving in order to coagulate into a new version of yourself, facing your inner kind of darkness, the choices that you have made in your life and sort of the results that has yielded, instead of focusing on lack, seeing this as the potential. What would you like to create that's different in the future? What doesn't feel right? And what can you do on your part, for yourself, by yourself, to even just change your mindset, change your perception, change how you are dealing or attached to these energies, in order to work towards and manifest and call in for yourself experiences and a life that is more in resonance with what makes you feel fulfilled at the soul level. So I'm going to get some initials. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got Q, H, G, B, P, D, E, S, F, and J. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dreamcatchers, and suncatchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Citrine along with these cards, which I'll start with to get kind of an introduction about what's happening with your person energetically and in terms of the connection right now. We have message, expectation, and courthouse. So this courthouse is giving me justice vibes, Libra vibes, and in tandem with message, they could really be considering reaching out to you, giving you some kind of an apology. It almost feels like a long overdue message, communication, or a response even. Maybe they have left something unread, kind of ghosted you or blocked you at one point in time, and that this is something they may have even been a little bit hesitant as far as kind of revealing some deeper truths about their feelings for you. This feels about like somebody who is maybe wanting to tell you that they love you if that has never been spoken before, or again, kind of to reach out and to let you know that they're still thinking about you. Maybe some things have changed. They've extracted themselves or are in the process of untangling or unbinding themselves from long-term connections, a long-term attachment. Maybe this is somebody who has gotten a divorce, is in the process of getting a divorce, and there is this urge to move in your direction, move back towards you. This can also, outside of the realm of kind of relationships, this idea of kind of contracts, this can talk about change that has occurred within their job, things that they have felt a sense of duty and obligation toward, maybe the opinions of others. This can even be a particular stance or decision that was made in this connection previously, that there is change that has occurred. There is something that is really shifted where this person at one point in time, felt maybe very pressured. They felt you were expecting a lot out of them, expecting an answer, expecting change or a version of them that they weren't ready to step into or deliver, that something has really shifted with that. Their priorities have shifted. Their sense of duty and obligation, it feels like, is more to self first and foremost. If they were really projecting that outward, the opinions of others weighing heavily, maybe the expectations of friends or family, people who didn't approve of the connection or had a certain prescription for what this person should be doing with their life, goals they should be pursuing, or kind of milestones or achievements they should have had at a certain point that they may have looked at in the past as this connection being a distraction from those things or in direct contradiction to those things, or they weren't exactly certain how you would fit into that world, how you would fit into kind of this life that they had envisioned for themselves or that they had been really pushed or encouraged to work toward. That all of that has kind of shifted. They have unleashed themselves in a certain manner from that, even if it's just from putting so much gravity and weight on these kind of perceptions or maybe fears, the outward appearance of things, or maybe substantial differences between the two of you that they had looked at as obstacles, rather than, just kind of an opportunity to sort of grow and expand and think out of the box, open one's mind a bit. It does feel like an openness that has happened. This idea of message can also tie into something that they have heard, some kind of a communication. They have heard something through the grapevine, maybe about you, something that they have stumbled upon. Maybe they have come upon your social media, for example, or somebody who may have even kind of unblocked this, is sort of peeking in, is peering in, maybe even from fake accounts. If they aren't at the place necessarily of wanting to fully unblock the communication between the two of you, there's still an investigation energy. They're looking into things. Their interest has been piqued about you in some way, where this was someone who was really turned away. They're starting to turn back towards you silently, and very much in an observational energy. A lot that could be coming through, again, through kind of third-party information, third-party sources, or again, somebody who's just watching very silently from kind of the sidelines, planning their next move, planning their next maneuver. Again, maybe thinking about reaching out. They could be in the process of kind of drafting making communication to you, sort of text messages only to not be satisfied with what they say, and then they delete it, or emails, or just kind of that building, that idea of expectation. There's a momentum that is increasing as far as movement forward potentially in this situation, wanting to bring balance, wanting to either provide you with some kind of closure, provide you with some kind of answers, some kind of a vindication, or to, balance out this energy where they had pulled away or kind of tried to extinguish this situation. And there's a desire to invest more, to give more, to provide something, to be more clear about their feelings and their intentions, and to make that really known, to create a plan of action with you in order to kind of course correct from this point. So I'm going to get some tarot to get a little more clarification about this. Okay, we have Wheel of Fortune, which is mutable energy, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. Five of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The Star, which is Aquarius. Death, which is Scorpio. Six of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And Strength, which is Leo. So this energy of Leo, this strength energy, this balance energy, this feels like, again, kind of this back and forth. It's very similar to kind of those justice vibes, that Libra, kind of those scales sort of vacillating between the head and the heart, or maybe, kind of what's the right time, what's the right maneuver, a lot of kind of investigation work that is going on as far as planning that approach. There's this desire to come out of the sense of loss, to move on from sort of what has been lost in this situation or been torn asunder in the direction of victory, a battle which is taking place between, just keeping things at the status quo, not wanting to further complicate matters, a little bit of a fear of rejection, a fear of loss as well, a fear that it might be too little too late, and yet this desire to breathe life back into this circumstance with the Star, which represents hope, and also death, which is the energy of endings and beginnings. With these black butterflies here, there is this kind of, this desire to transform this situation, to step into a new beginning with you, to kind of emerge from the darkness, a period of no contact, of separation, or just whatever kind of the stance or approach that they had taken to this connection in the past was. A desire to move beyond that, but not really being certain if the time is right. Again, maybe a little bit of this investigation energy, trying to see, are you available? Are you single? What can they glean about your sort of feelings toward them? Where are you at in your life? Where are you at in your mind space? Is it, too little too late? Is it all just in the realm of wishful thinking? Is this something where they must just kind of watch you from afar? Must you remain just in this energy of memory? Or is this something that can be kind of resurrected and brought forth into the now in a more balanced state? Somebody who was in kind of indecision has now reached some clarity, and there is this urge to, provide you with something, provide you with vindication, or, kind of this demonstration of readiness to participate in a different and more equitable way in this circumstance. Wheel of Fortune is also a very profound signifier of a desire to turn the page, kind of moving out of one season, a season of closure and distance and kind of uncertainty. It brings forth kind of this image of coming out of winter into springtime. This person really giving a lot of thought to re-emerging, making a reappearance in your life, trying to strategize and plan, feeling that they want to, hit this at just the right time, that there might be a very small window of opportunity, hoping that luck can be on their side, but at the same time being very cautious in how they move towards this, feeling that they may have just one chance to get this right, but kind of these these winds of change pushing them in your direction. Again, a lot that may have changed within their external circumstances, or something which has really kind of broken loose within them. If they've needed time to contemplate, they're kind of pivoting into this energy of certainty. Wheel of Fortune can also talk about time having been very much a necessary factor in this, that it has taken this time, the time that they have asked for, that they've put the brakes on, or even just the distance that they have created between you in this energy of kind of death, this energy of endings. They have used this time to think about things. You have remained in their heart, you've remained on their mind, and they are now sort of shifting that perspective. There's been a change of heart, there's been a change of mind. What may have looked like an impossible circumstance, there's now this energy of seeing a way forward, or kind of building up that courage to reach out, to be very assertive and proactive in making that, in kind of chipping away at these obstacles and barriers, with the interest in kind of progressing things forward to a new and deeper level with you. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self now and see what do they want to tell you. Okay, and we have mental health. So this person may be in some kind of therapy or counseling right now. They may also be under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress, or circumstances which were very kind of trying upon their mental health. This idea of being pulled in many directions, or kind of operating under the thumb of other people's expectations of them, that they in some way have broken free, or getting some kind of remedy, some kind of relief from that. And it feels also to be this energy kind of distress, this expectation, this anticipation, an urge to make things right, feeling a pressure of time upon them, which is very stressful to them, a lot of anxiety that they are sitting in right now, a nervousness, a desire to want to reach out, to offer you something, to, present some kind of information, try and get the the wheel turning in a more positive direction, or just kind of come out of this stuck and sort of frozen in time energy that the two of you have been in. But this is giving them a lot of kind of a feeling of trepidation, this urge to move forward, and yet with death, this kind of fear of the unknown that may be sort of delaying things, where they're almost over planning, wanting to get things almost too correct, kind of talking themselves off the ledge when they reach that point of getting ready to make contact, almost second guessing, overthinking matters, really a battle between the head and the heart that is taking place, that may be affecting even their physical health, or again, their mental health in other ways. This can be something that's very noticeable to people around them, just this sense of stress or burden, something that's really on their mind, weighing heavily upon them, that they may not be sharing with other people, but it is definitely this force of friction that is indicating something getting ready to crack open in this circumstance. They also say, I have unwittingly sabotaged our connection. So a lot of regret that they have, and kind of guilt and shame over allowing maybe the opinions of other people to interfere in this, the perceptions of kind of what would people think, how would this look, maybe their focus on some kind of career goals that they thought, maybe that this connection would be in direct opposition to, viewing you as a distraction, rather than seeing how love can almost make that solid sanctuary and foundation, which is a supportive force for the achievement of other things in one's life. They were looking at things previously in a very black and white fashion, either or, failing to recognize the gray areas, not feeling equipped at the time to make space, or not really certain how you would fit into their world or the life they had envisioned for themselves. And that the time that is since passed since this person ghosted you, blocked you, kind of pulled back, or retreated from this connection, or things kind of dissolved, this ending between the two of you. They have had time to really reflect on that the approach they took, the way in which they viewed or kind of showed up in this connection, that it wasn't kind of making the most of the potential that was there. They may have been very impulsive, or were just kind of not seeing things very thoroughly, or kind of looking at things from an incorrect angle. They also say, I'll come back for you. So a confirmation there of someone who is wanting to resurface, planning their return, planning their moves, strategizing at this point in time. It feels to be this energy of somebody who is almost tiptoeing around, not wanting you to become aware of their presence, again, maybe using fake profiles, just kind of, trying to learn information about you through, third parties, secondhand sources, doing some Googling, some deep Googling perhaps, just doing a lot of investigative work, maybe even tapping into you energetically if this is something that they are consciously aware of and have an ability to do. This can also be somebody who could be getting tarot readings about you, or seeking kind of advice from their own divination tools or sources about what's going on. Are you open to this? Are the signs pointing in the direction of yes? But then almost maybe misinterpreting the answers that they are getting, or even if they get that go-ahead, that affirmation, it feels that they almost overthink things. They just kind of, that fear, that hesitation, a feeling of they have one opportunity to really get this right, not wanting to mess it up or overcomplicate things. It's creating almost this delay. It feels like with that message, kind of a letter that got lost in the mail, but is still on its way to you, that they may arrive to you later than they would have liked, later than you would have expected. This silence, this kind of hesitation, taking things to the next step. It is taking longer than both of you would have imagined or like. And they also say water under the bridge. So a lot of reflection about how they have showed up in this connection at this point in time. There's a desire to move beyond this, to move into calmer waters with you, to divulge something of an emotional level, to provide you with some clarity about their feelings that they have harbored for you this whole time, or that they have hidden, that they have not been as open about. Or there's this interest. It's bringing this image of kind of a river coming forth, and a desire to kind of move to the next stage, move to kind of a new scenery, move to a new plateau or plane with you in terms of the experiences that the two of you have, and so the depth and level of emotions that are exchanged. They also say it was my fault, but I blamed you. So they could have projected a lot of these kind of fears, looking outward, operating out of pride and ego, ways in which you didn't necessarily fit into their plan. You came in very unexpectedly. You were kind of a wild card, or in some way they questioned how you would fit into their world, how other people would accept this connection, this relationship. They may have projected that a lot upon you, but they have since really recognized that a lot of this is stemming from an energy of people-pleasing, codependency, distortion, too much focus on the material, not enough focus on kind of the intangible spiritual wealth of love that exists between the two of you then and still. They also say, I regret lying to you. So they may have denied having feelings for you, made up excuses, just kind of gradually pulled away, or again, ghosted you without, providing an explanation that they were feeling a lot of pressure. They were feeling a lot of stress and uncertainty and fear. Whatever was said to you in the past, it was not a true reflection of their feelings. And this is something that in the time since whatever that is that was said or occurred, they have reflected upon this. They have reached clarity, and there is this desire to kind of push things forward in some way, to again provide an apology, some kind of clarity, or to speak the words and the truth about their feelings for you that they have long held within. They also say the timing just wasn't right for us. So that element of time was coming up very strongly here. Kind of this idea of right person, wrong time. So other extenuating circumstances, other things that they were working toward, or other kind of relationships or complications that they had, even a level of kind of ascension that they were at, or personal awareness, even emotional maturity, that it was just... they didn't handle this situation in the best way. They allowed kind of these outside factors, these factors of the ego, to interfere in what, it really has the potential to be a very higher level love, something that brings a lot of balance to them. something that may have been outside of the box in a lot of ways from what they were used to dealing with. You may have been someone who was very accepting of kind of all parts and facets of themselves, a very supportive person, which could be very unlike what they are used to. They may have been used to people that it was very one-sided. They were very judgmental, trying to control or manipulate them. And, your energy of just kind of purity and acceptance may have felt very foreign to them. And it was something that they just didn't feel that they were ready for that, to step into that healthy and reciprocal love. They needed some more time just kind of operating in distortions or participating in something where they felt a sense of duty and obligation. Maybe this is a particular career path they were working toward, some kind of a degree they were working toward, or again, just operating under kind of these prescriptions of what their culture or their family expected of them in terms of what partnership would look like, when that would come in, kind of that process of meeting somebody and how that evolves, and in the ways in which this connection really caught the two of you off guard and was outside of that parameter. At the time, they were just almost too blind to see that as much as on the surface this could have been outside of what was expected when they were envisioning kind of their forever person or love coming into their life. Time has since afforded them the wisdom to see this with fresh eyes, to kind of have this interest within them in wanting to try again. Other circumstances that may have wrapped up or they may have dislodged themselves from or are in the process of extracting themselves from. That it's almost like you remain the right person for them, and they are in this process and have been working toward kind of creating these outside circumstances and an internal landscape that is ready and is prepared to take advantage of this opportunity or to explore the potential that still exists between you here and now. They also say, I hide between material things. So this can again talk about some kind of focus of duty or obligation, something they were working toward, putting their career first, feeling that the connection was too much of a distraction from some other goals that they may have had. This idea of material things can also talk about the opinions of other people that they let interfere with this connection, or even if nobody had anything to say, it was just this perception of how would you fit into their world, and that really feels to be a big pivot as to their decision to pull away, to not invest in this, to ghost you or kind of block off or distance themselves. But this is a recognition that as well, with kind of what the idea of regretting lying to you, like whatever it is that they presented or showed you in the past, this was a mirage. It was a mask. They were hiding deeper feelings for you. This river of emotions that has not stopped flowing. It has not stopped pulling them in your direction. They can't escape this connection. They keep being brought back to these ideas of what if and these memories and this longing for you. They also say you gave me that spark. So you've definitely awakened something within this person, something that has not been able to be closed off or silenced in the time since you, have last been together. It's a spark of inspiration. It's hope for something different, something more. There's a feeling of being alive that they had with you, even just, in very casual encounters, or even just in the time in which they were interacting with you, kind of that energetic effect that followed, a sense of, being very excited, maybe seeing a new way possible. They may feel very much like their life is kind of in the doldrums. It's very predictable. It's very boring. It's very, it follows something very straight and narrow, maybe that other people have really created for them. And you've given them that inspiration to forge a new path, to move in the direction of what resonates truly with them at the soul level. And it feels like in the time that they have really kind of ghosted and blocked, or been very distant, there's been plans that have been put in place, a lot of which have been implemented, to kind of spark some new things in their life, move in a new direction, or to start showing up in the world as more of that authentic version of self. They also say, I've been receiving your telepathic messages. So if you have been sending this person vibrations of love, they have been receiving that and are very consciously attaching that with your energy. They feel to also be reciprocating that in kind. And so this also feels like an encouragement from their higher self to continue that conversation. That may be kind of the ways in which they are testing these waters as well, reaching out to you energetically, hoping that you will be receptive, kind of fearful of reaching out and coming back without having some kind of a greater element of certainty uncertainty about sort of where you're at. Is this connection now maybe they're on the other side of the coin? Is this connection all in their head? Is this still real? Is there still something there? Can something be salvaged from this? So you may also be picking up even on those kind of questions. Those same sort of dilemmas may be surfacing within you as the two of you are almost kind of having this conversation telepathically back and forth while there is silence in the material world. They also say, I have inner childhood wounds. So a lot of that fear, that codependency, that people pleasing could have really stemmed from their upbringing, definitely their family structure, something that was expected of them. Has definitely been an interference in this circumstance, maybe literally family members who did not approve of this connection. And it feels to be something that they are acknowledging. They're trying to work them through, take their power back from these circumstances. They may have moved away in some way, gained some kind of independence that could have involved a career change, a restructuring of those connections, or standing up to some of these people. But it's a work in progress. There still is this fear of almost inadequacy, a vulnerability, a fear of the unknown. It's like a fear of, being afraid of the dark, not really sure what kind of lives there or lurks there. And that darkness is kind of this unknown territory of that this connection represents, that is outside of what has been illuminated for them, what is known, what is familiar, what is comfortable to them. Kind of those limitations, that worldview, the way in which love and partnerships look in their world, in people that they know. And so it is something to where, they're in this process of kind of working themselves through that, acknowledging that, and it definitely feels to be baby steps that they may take. So a little bit of that fear that is holding them back. And they also say, you influence me in ways no one ever has. So that ties in with the element of a spark, something you have awakened within them. You have given this person a new zest for life, a new view of what is possible, what can happen in love and partnerships, their place in the world, kind of what they are doing with their time on this earth. And it's a very positive influence. It feels to be an energy of liberation, who you are, how you live your life. You may be a very free-spirited person, somebody who is coming into alignment or has come into alignment with their soul's purpose, is kind of answering a higher calling, is really doing that work on inner child wounds, seeking to kind of improve and to grow and to stand in your authenticity. You have definitely inspired this person to break out of a lot of boxes, out of a lot of kind of that doldrum energy within themselves. A lot of changes and evolution that have taken place even in what they think is possible for themselves, which is opening the door and kind of building that momentum to want to reach out and change the circumstances between the two of you. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit now. Okay, and we have imagination. Thoughts are the building bricks of life, for everything begins with a thought. Add creativity to thoughts and you have imagination. Every castle starts as a castle in the air. This image is then grounded by architects and builders. The angels are inviting you to use the power of your creative imagination to expand your horizons and picture the life you want. When you hold a vision, the angels see the clarity of your intention and open doors to help you. The angel wisdom guides you to decide your desired outcomes. Be certain that you have the purest intentions. Then imagine your dreams and start the process of creation. And the affirmation is, I picture positive outcomes for the highest good. So this is really encouraging you to hold the vision that change is possible in this circumstance. Trust in what you are kind of feeling energetically and kind of this energy of momentum that is building. This person has definitely been sparked, has been awakened, is envisioning a different kind of life for themselves, and in subtle ways is taking steps to create that, which ultimately pave a different path in terms of what is possible in this connection. They are creating that road. They are clearing that road. They are discovering that road deeper into who they are authentically, who they would like to be, and ultimately to what is possible in terms of change in this situation. You are also guided to really kind of look around you and see, are you living a life that feels good for you very authentically? What are some ways in which you may be falling into kind of, dimming your light to sort of fit into the expectations of others, fear of what others may think? or even kind of those inner child wounds and unconscious programming. How has that been dictating how you are showing up in love and partnerships, and even for yourself in your life? You can definitely be inspirational to this person by continuing to forge your own path forward. Stand in your light, stand in your truth, stand in your authenticity, and seeking to come into alignment and being in alignment, moving with the alignment of your higher purpose and your calling in this life. They are definitely taking note. They are watching, most likely literally in some sense, although some of them, this could just be energetically perceiving this, and it is helping them to kind of recalibrate. It is helping them to kind of find that courage, as we saw here with strength, to step boldly into that, to take power back from anywhere that they've been playing small, anywhere that they've been kind of forfeiting that to others, even to the expectations or perceptions of what others might think. So you can definitely continue to be a guiding force, an inspirational force for this person, and even others who encounter you and see that light, see you kind of unearthing that and harnessing that to your fullest capacity. And this is really encouraging you to kind of believe that change is possible in this, because for a lot of you, it does feel that change is really coming. Something, this person will reach out. They are moving towards you. They are wanting to either, provide you with some kind of clarity and closure, or the seeds of a new beginning that is possible. So continue holding the focus on that vision of abundance you have for yourself, being very open to divine timing, the manner in which that will kind of manifest for you, kind of holding that light of the love that you seek without being attached to a specific individual, simply harnessing that and embodying that within yourself. And through that kind of law of attraction, that power of manifestation, you become that magnet for like vibration to come towards you in the time and manner best suited to your highest good. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got P, F, B, H, S, J, O, Y, and A. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.